and spread of fake information. So if you thought it was not happening in Africa, that is just a development from Gabon. But that aside, the Ministry of Education warned that those teachers who fail to submit students' project work, that they will face penalties. And according to Dr. Kedres Turiagenda, who is the ministry's permanent secretary, she said that schools' heads will be held accountable for any negligence that brings the learners to a disadvantage. The ministry further warned the head teachers in government schools who ask parents to pay half of the school fees on the first day of reporting at school. They cited these consequently lead to school dropouts.
Very interesting. I will comment on the issue of social media ban. It reminds me of what's going on in the UK.
Okay.
The UK is under the ban. It's going through the process to begin a ban for those below 16 years to stop them from using social media. And somebody, one of the commenters, took on X to really point fingers at Keir Starmer, saying that if you can allow 5-year-olds to choose which gender they want, how can you refuse those 15 years old to stop using social media? So the Western world has a lot of controversies going on right there.
And Australia, by the way, Australia banned the use of social media for the teenagers last year. So I think the world, as we come out and say AI is taking over, social media is the way to go. Some other countries are seeing it otherwise for the teenagers.
Well, if you think about it, I think it's safe. Better to be safe than sorry. Anyways, time to look at what we have on the local scene.
And of course, from our local coverage, we are starting off with President Museveni, who met with His Eminence Cardinal Emmanuel Wamala and commended him for his contribution to faith and social transformation in Uganda. During the meeting, President Museveni pledged government support to his family's foundation's Kamagwa Hospital, while it remains a private facility. Museveni also directed the Ministry of Tourism to support the establishment of a museum to preserve his legacy. In the meeting, President Museveni, at his request, accepted to serve as patron of the project and wished Cardinal Wamala good health and God's blessings as he marks 99 years. Cardinal Wamala was accompanied to State House with members of his family and officials from Lubaga Cathedral. In another development, the Forum for Democratic Change Party Vice Chairperson for Buganda and outgoing Member of Parliament for Mawokota South, Yusuf Nsibambi, formally joined the National Resistance Movement Party. During a meeting with NRM officials at the party headquarters on Wednesday in Kampala, Nsibambi castigated the opposition parties, accusing them of misleading the youth and lack of direction. He was welcomed by the Speaker of Parliament, Annette Among, and the NRM Secretary General, Richard Todong. After having a meeting with the President, the Forum for Democratic Change Party Vice Chairperson for Buganda and outgoing Member of Parliament for Mawokota South, Yusuf Nsibambi, has formally joined the National Resistance Movement Party. He criticized the opposition political parties for having lack of direction. He further said that their lack of direction misleads the youth to violence. He said he regretted their participating in the just concluded general elections on opposition ticket. Nsibambi was alongside 20 independent MPs who have expressed interest to work with NRM. Nsibambi and other 20 independents were welcomed by the Speaker of Parliament, Annette Among, and the NRM Secretary General, Richard Todong, and they pledged to work with Nsibambi and the independents. The duo tasked Nsibambi to bring more opposition to join the party ideology. Forging forward, the Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, made changes within the Uganda Police Force amid public outcry over increased criminality in Kampala. ACP Emito Ezekiel was appointed commander of the Kampala metropolitan area in the recent reshuffle. He was serving Commandant Kabalie Training School. He replaces CP Richard Echega. Over the past weeks, members of the public have openly shared their experiences regarding the wave of crime. Police acknowledge the increase in criminal incidents, but remain confident that the situation is not out of hand yet. Recent forensic developments indicate that 4 submachine guns were recovered between 20th and 24th January have been linked to 30 violent crimes recorded between June 2025 and January 2026 within the Kampala metropolitan area. 9 suspects were apprehended and investigations have linked them to 12 murders, including the killing of the officer in charge of Ntawo police station. These are being processed for court. Recent operations have also led to the arrest of 136 suspects, that is 134 males and 2 females, within the Central Business District. These have been charged with offences related to possession of suspected narcotic substances and other related crimes. Meanwhile, other successful operations include the arrest of the key suspects involved in the murder of TikToker Diana Skies, Uganda Christian University Pamela Tumwebazi, and the double murder at a hotel in Longoja. Exhibits, including a stolen vehicle, were recovered. Security agencies add that territorial commands continue to conduct intelligence-led operations targeting suspected criminals. Police insist that the overall security situation remains under control and that recent operations demonstrate progress in dismantling criminal networks. There is also an ongoing implementation of the sub-county policing model aimed at protecting farmers and rural communities from theft targeting agricultural produce, a challenge officials say undermines government poverty alleviation programs. As we conclude our local coverage, the Senior 5 placement exercise commenced by the Ministry of Education and Sports. It targets to place 284,620 students in 2,826 secondary schools. Schools have set admission thresholds based on the performance of the 2025 UCE examinations. In the 2025 UCE examinations, students performed highly in science subjects, prompting schools to raise the admission grades for learners intending to offer science combinations. School administrators have been urged to guide students carefully while selecting A-level subject combinations to minimize future errors. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Kedris Turiagenda, cautioned school managers about the poor teaching environment which is affecting learners' performance. The ministry threatened to take action against schools that fail to submit learners' continuous assessment marks and project work scores. Learners who failed to meet the minimum requirements for joining A-level have been advised to repeat, while others are encouraged to join TVET institutions. And that brings us to the end of our local coverage.
Thank you very much, Joanne. And still to stay with an update, quick update on the local scene, the Buganda Kingdom has urged the public to continue adhering to guidelines aimed at preventing the spread of HIV/AIDS in order to achieve the 2030 target of ending the disease. The call was made by the Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, during the launch of the Kabaka's 71st birthday run held at Bulange. And in other news, emergency healthcare of the key components in health service delivery is being threatened by periodic blood shortage that causes preventable deaths. The Uganda Blood Transfusion Services collects 300,000 units of blood against 450,000 units required annually. And finally, yesterday marked the final day for street vendors and hawkers to operate in the city center of Kampala before a directive requiring them to vacate took effect, and takes effect, that is today, started midnight. Our team had been on the ground gathering reactions from the traders as they wind up their activities and reflect on what the eviction means for their livelihoods. At this note, let's take a look at what we have on the foreign scene. We're starting off with matters Starlink, Russia, and Elon Musk. Evidence is mounting that Elon Musk's decision to deny Russian forces access to his Starlink satellite-based internet service has blunted Moscow's advance, caused confusion among Russian soldiers, and handed an advantage to Ukraine's defenders. But for how long? And what can Ukraine's military achieve in the meantime? The Russians lost the ability to control the field. A Ukrainian drone operator who goes by the call sign Giovanni did tell the source, quote unquote, "I think they lost 50% of their capacity for offense," he said. That's what the numbers show. Fewer assaults, fewer enemy drones, fewer everything. It's still early to assess the impact of the change that only came into effect at the beginning of the month after Ukraine's defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov, asked Elon Musk's SpaceX company to block Russian access to Starlink. But in some areas of the long front line, especially east of the city of Zaporozhye, there is some evidence of Russian forces being forced to retreat. Now, on a rather sad note, rescue teams combing through the backcountry of California's Lake Tahoe region say they have found the bodies of 8 skiers who went missing in an avalanche on Tuesday. The search for a final missing skier continues, but the person is presumed dead, Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon said at a news conference yesterday. Officials said one of the deceased was the spouse of someone on one of the search and rescue teams, making continued rescue efforts challenging emotionally. 15 skiers were reported missing on Tuesday after a football field-sized avalanche came barreling down in the Castle Peak area at around 11:30 local time. Quote unquote, "I want to offer my condolences to the family in this very trying time," Placer County Sheriff Wayne Wu said on Wednesday. The bodies of the 8 dead skiers are still trapped in the snow and can't yet be recovered due to pretty horrific conditions, officials said. Since the avalanche, another 8 feet of snow has fallen on the area, Tahoe National Forest supervisor said. Now on to the continent. At least 33 miners have died in a suspected carbon monoxide leak at a lead and zinc mine in central Nigeria's Plateau State, witnesses told the BBC. The tragedy is believed to have happened just before sunrise at a site outside the town of Waisran by the mining company Solid Unity Nigeria Limited. Toxic gas is believed to have built up underground in poorly ventilated tunnels, causing the workers to collapse just before the end of their night shift. They were discovered by those reporting to work in the morning. More than 20 other miners were rescued and rushed to hospital for treatment. Security personnel have sealed off the mine, which is about 200 kilometers southeast of the state capital of Jos, as investigations get underway to find out the cause of the leak. State officials are yet to visit the area, and response efforts have reportedly been slow because of security concerns. Armed criminal gangs known locally as bandits have been active there in recent years. Safiyanu Haruna, one of the miners who found the bodies at the start of his shift, told the BBC that some of the miners who were underground survived and were taken to hospital in a waste for treatment. And that marks the end of what we have on the foreign scene. Let's take a dive, quick one, through what the dailies look like, John.
Of course, beginning off with the local ones, that is the new vision. The heading out there is schools raise senior 5 cutoffs. Points for science combinations tightened amid stiff competition. While UNEP does not discriminate against urban schools, the ministry there says. And about the crime, IGP shakes up Kampala command structure. Whereas beneath the new vision, there are Christians mark Ash Wednesday, a pictorial in the church of the Lubaga Cathedral, and over 80 tenders within the new vision, and over 100 farms to exhibit at Dutch Village. That is about the Harvest Money Expo. You need to know about URA and the taxes, and they're asking what is current waiver about, while what Nsibambi NRM defection means for the opposition. You'll find everything in the New Vision. Let's take a quick look at what the Daily Monitor holds at the face this early morning. The heading there is Thorns and Roses. A suspect in UCU killing narrates how he accessed house. Boy delivers Valentine flower killed by girlfriend's father. The hurdles awaiting new Kampala police boss Emito. And down there beneath there is the clergy task faithful on peace as Lent starts, while farmers abandon cotton growing. And top schools also, and the Monitor has it that Titan S5 cut-off scores and how music changes where you drive. Opposition still downplays Yellow Nsibambi, as we've seen in the New Vision, and about business, while Nedbank is paying a premium for NCBA. And about the lizard, he says, seems opposition have no gains to protect. That's within the Daily Monitor, and sarcastic.
Looking at what Tanzania has with the citizen, slow vehicle conversations cast doubt on CNG plans. That's the headline there. But in other stories, influence, not optics. Why gender parity requires design. New diploma course for house helps in the offing.
Interesting.
I know, right? How regulatory shortfalls shape traditional medicine trend. Now looking at Kenya with the Daily Nation, fresh plot to impeach Sakaja. That's the headline on there. In other news, Ida asked me to save Raila from Moi detention horror. Want to know more of the detail? Get yourself a copy. And rogue police link to crime. Also, NIS reports 1,000 Kenyans fighting for Russia in war. All of these updates in your dailies. Dig deeper into them by getting yourselves copies of those dailies. For now, let's have a short break. Good Morning Uganda is proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, ensuring that on set we do enjoy Uganda coffee to keep us up and running, which you should do as well. Good morning. In the meantime, we'll be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Indeed, what a beautiful morning. Rainy it is, but yet again still beautiful. A good morning to you. The week has started to roll its carpet out, and it's a Thursday, the 19th day of February 2026, a day marked for KCCA's ultimatum on enforcing the eviction of street vendors from the central business district of Kampala City started at midnight and ongoing as communicated by the KCC authorities. It's a rainy Thursday, really rainy, and for you who's on the way to work, praying for you that you get to work safe, but also keep in mind that you have to drive safely. Do not overspeed. Just drive as slowly as possible for as long as you get to where you're going safe and sound. Good morning, Uganda. You are watching UBC TV live on air and online. My name is Julie F. Nantaba with John Murunji. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Julie, and a very good morning to you, our viewers, in this chilly early morning. And of course, it is a Thursday. I hope you've enjoyed as we took you down memory lane at this very morning. Apparently, Gabon has suspended social media, though they've not been specific on whether WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, or X to mention but a few. But the statement from there is that they've suspended social media due to social harassment, rather internet abuse, of course, cyberbullying, and spread of fake information. So if you thought it was not happening in Africa, there is just a development from Gabon. But that aside, the Ministry of Education warned that those head teachers who fail to submit students' project work, that they will face penalties. And according to Dr. Akedres Turiagenda, who is the ministry's permanent secretary, she said that the schools' heads will be held accountable for any negligence that brings the learners to a disadvantage. The ministry further warned the head teachers in government schools who ask parents to pay half of the school fees on the first day of reporting at school. They cited these consequently lead to school dropouts.
Very interesting. I will comment on the issue of social media ban. It reminds me of what's going on in the UK.
Okay.
The UK is under the ban. It's going through the process to begin a ban for those below 16 years to stop them from using social media. And somebody, one of the commenters, took on X to really point fingers at Keir Starmer, saying that if you can allow 5-year-olds to choose which gender they want, how can you refuse those 15 years old to stop using social media? So the Western world has a lot of controversies going on right there.
And Australia, by the way, Australia banned the use of social media for the teenagers last year. So I think the world, as we come out and say AI is taking over, social media is the way to go. Some other countries are seeing it otherwise for the teenagers.
Well, if you think about it, I think it's safe. Better to be safe than sorry. Anyways, time to look at what we have on the local scene.
And of course, from our local coverage, we are starting off with President Museveni, who met with His Eminence Cardinal Emmanuel Wamala and commended him for his contribution to faith and social transformation in Uganda. During the meeting, President Museveni
was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they are supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned or what we have stopped is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals.
Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome to the show. It's a rainy Thursday, and wherever you are, hope and praying that you are safe. This morning, we are looking at a topic, as always, in the real, where we get to share our 2 cents as alongside yours. So 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number. You should engage and be part of this conversation. We are looking at the rising cases of domestic violence in Uganda. Authorities in Ajumani district have expressed concern over the rising cases of domestic violence affecting both nationals and refugees, despite ongoing community sensitization and policing efforts. The Ajumani Resident District Commissioner Swaib Toko confirmed that incidents of domestic violence continue to increase even after repeated campaigns warning communities about the dangers of the vice. This is really dire, but the highlight there is now involving nationals and refugees. Why are these cases rising as opposed to being curbed and reducing? Let's join on this 0709602592. Now, looking at some of the statistics we have and trends as of 2025, domestic violence in Uganda remains a very critical crisis in the year 2025, with over 75% of reported victims being women and girls. Data indicates that 56% of ever partnered women report physical or sexual intimate partner violence, which is IPV, with 44% of every married men also experiencing forms of IPV. 56% versus a 44%. I think that's quite large even for the men. Key drivers include economic stress, alcohol, and deeply rooted society norms, but definitely we're delving deep into the understanding of these causes. And the prevalence is roughly 33% of households in Uganda experience some form of gender-based violence. And if you look at female victimization, over 90% of GBV survivors are female. Reports indicate indeed 56 of these married aged between 15 to 30 have suffered violence from their spouses. When it comes to the male victimization, 44%, as we've seen, of married men facing IPV, with 36% reporting emotional abuse and 20% reporting physical violence. Now, with that statistic and that background, why exactly do we still have rising cases of domestic violence? My name is Julie F. Nantaba with Joan Murunje and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. And I'll start with a male figure in the room. I think my highlight so far from the statistics, it's the fact that men are actually also suffering domestic violence, gender-based violence. Many a times when we talk about GBV, people or the general public has a perspective of just a female. But 44% is there. It's a huge number versus the 50. Yes, the female gender is suffering more with 56%, but it's the difference is the range is very small. That means men are suffering. Robert, what is ringing through your mind when it comes to, let's start with male gender-based violence?
Well, good morning, our viewer, and of course the team. Now, first, we must note that men have just learned to come out and speak. Men have just learned to come out and speak. But previously, these things were happening to an extent, but men would not speak. And I want to tell you that even very many men watching this show this morning that are going through a lot of domestic violence, but they are choosing to keep quiet. Because Africanly, a man is supposed to stomach everything. That's why you see that when they break up, you ask, why would a man harm this woman to this extent? But he has had so very much that he has stomached. So very much. You know, women may not use the physical, but they will provoke. They'll psychologically torture this man, knowing. Some go as conjugal rights denial, as a punishment to this man. Let me wait for him. When he touches me, I'll turn my back. And this happens continuously. Sometimes the man doesn't have, maybe he's so much into his faith. That's why when you see pastors break up, and maybe he's so much into his faith that he can't have an extramarital affair. So he's dying inside there. Or he's poor. He's even spending so much to sustain the little family he has. Now he thinks of, if I am to have an extra partner, where will I have the resources? So men, one, they have been brought up that we keep quiet, we don't talk. Now in that keeping quiet and not talking, they're going through a lot. And I want to give thumbs up. One time I saw a media personality who came out and said he used to be beaten in a marriage, he used to be, and I saw how the media was rude at him, you know. But I want to tell you, gentlemen, I give you your flowers, because very few men who are media personalities like that young man would come out and say this is the true side of the story. But also began, I've kept quiet for a long time. The world doesn't know that I would be beaten. I come on set smiling. So that is one. Two, why we see it increasing amongst men is over a time, I don't want to blame the NRM government, but when it came with woman emancipation, many women didn't understand this properly. And with these civil society organizations and human rights organizations, that's why we are talking over Jumani, deep in the villages there. That's where you find a lady who doesn't know. I remember one time I was sitting in a case where the woman refused to cook on Women's Day. Said, you know, if you can't cook, you as a man, we are not going to eat. It is our day. Recently there was one on Valentine. She refused to cook. Then you find someone who says, no, he's a man, yes, I'm a woman. If he can't make a meal for himself, no, because we left that now. That, when it goes to a rural woman, and there's an organization, society organization, or a friend in the urban center who goes and says, no, now you have power to do this, to do that, to do that. There's a rivalism amongst a number of women. One, women should have learned to work and make money. Previously, they would depend on the men entirely. But you find that it takes a noble woman, a woman of substance, who has grown up to be successful and maintain a marriage. Now at village level, if she sets up a market store, and the husband wakes up to drinking, you know, or he ends up not meeting very well, a husband by nature believes he has a status he should have in this family. Most of those local men there, those village men, for them they believe a man is a man. Either he's able to provide or not. There is a way they were brought up. Now this woman has been empowered. Maybe she even went to school a little bit. This woman has had some business, either PDM money, SACCO money. There's so much. They have those groupings. Now she has a store. She has some business. Because of the rivalism, she forgets her position in this family. But also finally, why it is becoming so much in men. I'm sorry to say, men watching us, but we must confess, men of this generation, many of us have moved away from our position as men in homes. What do I mean? Today you see very many young men, they spend most of their times in the gym, in saunas, in
soft life ambassadors.
And they are targeting, even in the villages, I thought it was only in town here, where they are targeting women that are able. Go to the born again, I'm sorry, I'm one. You go to a church, the sisters are employed, the sisters are serious with life, the brothers are intercessors, they are moving crusade to crusade. Now, these two fall in love and get married. Now, men have left their position of providing, of taking the lead in families. Now, the women, when they see you in this nature, she doesn't see where the future with you, but she doesn't want to leave their children and all that. Domestic violence comes there. Now for Ajumani, those people, the drinking. And lastly, when I was in Ajumani, I witnessed something, chewing cud. Is it called cat? Mairunji. Now, that thing, no wonder government banned it, but the problem is government sometimes does things and there is no implementation. Because we banned cat, but when I move around, Mairunji is everywhere. It is sold plainly in Chisenyi. Would we say that is corruption? Now, it has eaten most of the men there. Now the man drinks, and you see when someone is eating that thing, they want total concentration. Now, when drug abuse, alcohol and those, I don't think it's a drug because they are leaves, but they disturb the memories, they compromise your reasoning and the atmosphere you want. He'll want milk, a bottle of water, and many of them in Ajumani have addressed eating or chewing a cat, and has become a policy there. So there are some of the reasons why we are seeing domestic violence, because you don't work, you're poor.
Right. Thank you, Robert, for that detailed picture that he's painted, especially in regards to men and how they function. Now, in the story that we've read from the report in Ajumani, it also focuses on especially nationals and refugees. And I'll come over to you, John. Why do you think now domestic violence is including nationals and refugees? But as you chew on what you're about to say, allow me read a comment. Good morning, Julie, John and Robert. It's Isaac Wanzala, Aizo Ino, West Nile, Yumbe district. In most areas in Uganda, the growing domestic violence crisis is due to polygamous families marrying more than one woman. I think there's a point in there.
But our parents had, not my parent, but to speak, parents, we've grown up, African men are naturally and biologically polygamous.
Biologically?
Yeah, biologically polygamous. It is within their gene.
that doesn't make sense.
No.
John,
let me tell you, it's only Christ
biologically.
Let's be honest. How many people
have suggested and confirmed that men are biologically adulterous?
I said African men.
Yes. What scientific evidence is there that in their biology, their DNA?
That will take a long time, but let's look at statistics. Let's be very honest, people. Let's face the camera. The men that are watching us today, how many of you grew up in families where your father had one wife?
It could be a polygamous family, but it's not biologically confirmed that African men.
Where I grew up on my village, if we had 100 households, because then we didn't have people who were in renting bapangis. No, they were homesteads. But I want to tell you, out of 100 homesteads,
it could be traditional society norms, but not biological.
I can even count the homes of men we knew who had one wife. Either they were Seventh-day Adventists, some of them,
depending on what they believe in, their norms and society,
and that would be because of their faith. So when we talk about, and it wasn't domestic violence, they will not beat these women. Today you find someone, even with one woman, there's so much domestic violence in that home. Yet this man had his 4 wives. I'm not an advocate of having more than one wife, but they were peaceful. Some would even have them in one house.
All right.
Women under one roof.
As to the issue of biology, that's it's something that's causing a bit of questions, many questions within my mindset. But John, let's look at nationals and refugees. Why do you think they are falling victims and being added to the statistics of the rising cases of domestic violence in Uganda?
Just before I go to that, Robert mentioned something about women emancipation that is causing violence. It's not a primary driver, but it can be a catalyst to gender-based violence on men, but actually gender equity to the women, to the female gender, is actually one of the primary causes of domestic violence on the side of women and children, because the men do not want to treat women as equals in terms of some roles. They are when it comes to gender equity. When I talk about equals in have access to resources, education, healthcare, I don't mean equals in I have to kneel down before you, because that is what you're thinking about. Not in that perspective. But you would prefer women. Anyway, back to what Julie asked me: why are the refugees experiencing domestic violence, especially in West Nile? Because one, it is the area where most refugees have their camps, but just because it is about refugees, first they are human beings. So gender-based violence may not really refer to a nationality, or it's a human person. It's a human, that is a female, a child, or a male. So we could have some of these refugees may be traumatized, displacement trauma, that they move with from their place. They've been displaced from their homes to new areas. And because of what is going on in their minds, how they're trying to get something to eat or to make something up for a living, how they can send their children to school, and also thinking about what happened at home, the process in which they came to be refugees, could cause gender-based violence. It could be on the women, on the children, or on the males, because it can lead to frustration and anxiety issues. Also, a shifting of power. You know, when you're in a camp, most of the men feel they are powerless. They can no longer lead their families that like they used to do while they were in their home countries or initial countries. So there is likely to be increased violence against the women and children, because the men want to exercise authority even in the refugee camps, where they feel they should still be treated as the heads of the family, and of which most of the women also are trying hard to make sure their families are doing well. Men unknowingly not able to understand that these women are just trying to be supportive, but because they want to be seen as the spearheads of the families, they tend to try and enforce this on the women. That is how they end up participating in gender-based violence, because there is loss of power and shifting of gender roles. We see even in northern Uganda. That is why I say this practice mainly. It is, some societies still believe that it is the woman supposed to work for the man, while the man is just there seated and drinking alcohol. And also for the refugees, I can attribute it to the nature of space in which they stay, the overcrowding, the congestion, whereby the physical environment, these shelters lack privacy. For some of these refugees to do whatever they feel like doing, and it brings up tensions, which risks. Why are you laughing? I say whatever they feel like
I'm just
doing.
following you. Yes.
So this tension and anxiety stems up to gender-based violence, because I will take just a common example. A man may want to indulge into their conjugal rights, and the woman feels it is unsafe because of the space. It is small, the children are there, this tent is next to each other. For those settlements that have not yet received any modern shelter, and in the case, because the man feels he is being denied something, may resort to gender-based violence. And also another factor that plays with the nationals and the locals and the refugees, rather, it could be culture norms, whereby some of them, you've heard the statements, Julie and Robert, whereby some women feel they don't feel loved enough if the husband has not beaten them. But if they wrong the man, and the man acts in a way of maybe having some canes on the woman, they feel like, oh, this man loves me so much. So some society norms, both for the refugees and also for the locals, feel it is okay to be beaten. It is okay to be strangled. Even on the children, they feel like it is safe for someone to beat me, because there's so many types of gender-based violence, though people may only attribute it to beating. It could be emotional, it could be physical abuse.
So one thing I've learned during Joanne's submission is the different cultures and traditions. Now, when you look at the refugees in Adjumani, say one comes from South Sudan, much as someone may be within here, she mentioned the culture of where women work, bring the money to the men because they plan. Now, if someone who came from South Sudan, that is not their culture. For them, they believe a man must work. Now, these are usually, when you go to Adjumani, actually they're the outstanding. That these people are intermarrying, but when they're intermarrying, they have cultural differences. For example, me, I'm Hororo. Our women do not kneel when greeting. It is very okay. When I come to a mister, like say let me use a name Musisi from Uganda, the woman must kneel. And for me in my home, if my wife knelt, I would ask her, what do you want from me? Where have you gone this extra mile? Unless there is a gathering of people. Because I know that is not something that we will welcome as Bahororo. Now, when you have these different cultures, that's why you see some refugees have refused to intermarry. If you look at the Eritreans, if you look at which others, Indians.
They're not refugees. They're not refugees, but still, the fact that the fact that we have many
look
Indians
at the Somalis, because they know they have differences in them.
And
now
the
what is happening in Adjumani? Because these people are all dark black. Some are taller, but still it is the same. They feel, but they have different. You find that this is a problem. This woman gets married, the man expects other things that he has grown up seeing. Yes.
And now, then, of course, with the poverty, drug abuse.
Yes, indeed. True story.
That's
very true. Now, let's dig into some of the comments coming through as we begin to roll this conversation out. Wanzala Azio in West Nile comes back to just land his point, and over to you, Robert, says that Robert is having more than one wife, but again, failing to provide necessities to both children and wives. This leads to domestic violence. Now, someone else comes through. Hi, thank you for the show. This is teacher Igalagwa Edward from Buyende District. Gender-based violence has increased due to poverty and other economic challenges, where some young girls can be put into forced marriages to fulfill family bills.
Even for the refugees, it happens.
True story.
Married off to the locals.
True story, yeah. Good morning, Uganda. Thank you for the informative show. I'm Maxon Osuna from Tororo District. Domestic violence is majorly caused by lack of proper communication, financial stress, and the desire to dominate or control a partner. These grow where there is no respect, trusting, or understanding. And Phillips from Karamoja says, good morning to you all. Domestic violence is growing because it's based on needs for family management and increasingly becoming expensive. If all these were in plenty, such incidences would be very minimal. Fees, dressing up, etc., basic needs.
I want to tell that brother of mine that very many families of the rich are experiencing domestic violence.
Right.
You know, some people think, some men also believe if I had more money, I would be respected more by my wife. If I was able to provide this. But I want to tell you, even when you get to money, if you don't look at the key underlying factors, money does not stop domestic violence. Still, you will understand that even when you've provided everything, if you do not check character, if you don't look at tradition, if you don't look at religion, you know, two things we don't usually talk about. I'll be quick. Culture and religion, we fear. Culture. If a man is deeply, that's why you find a saying, a short man from a certain part of this country and of a certain faith. You see that trending on social media. A short man from a certain part of a region, and of a certain religion, if you get married to that one, disaster, because he combines two. He's short, he has that insecurity. Two, the faith is rooted in, brings him to think he's superior. Now also that region, they are so much in culture, musajja, musajja. Now, even if that man has money and you get married to that man, the three areas I've said, it will be trouble. Right.
Now, I think I'll just conclude this with my 2 cents. From my perspective, I think it's it's an issue of human brokenness at the core. Men and women, we're all broken. We all have backgrounds. And if two broken people meet, different ideologies, different mindset, broken at that, there's meant to be a clash, and different people were brought up differently. But Robert also made a statement, asked a question question to Joanne, where I asked, are women really equal to men? Let me use the Bible, the good book, because
in
it's
what
the good
context,
books.
Robert? In what context?
It's the good books that we live by,
Because
the Quran, the Bible, and all of that.
You even under-report yourselves as
So
men.
allow me use
that.
the Bible to show you that God created men and women equal, and none is above the other.
How do you come from my
Sister
robe and I'm equal to you?
It's about understanding our roles. One, God creates.
You're a photocopy of me.
God creates.
I'm the original.
God creates
Robert,
men.
we are
Can you
talking
listen?
about we are talking about some specific context.
God creates men and women. God creates men as leaders. It's a role of a man to be a leader.
Good.
Right? Because you lead a God-ordained vision. You have to have that vision. Women are created to be helpers to help the men to deliver that God-ordained vision. Let's take a look at a doctor and a patient. A doctor is supposed to help you be delivered from whatever ailment. But as a leader of your own life, if you bounce off the doctor's prescriptions or ideas or advice, will you be healed? Will you deliver whatever you're supposed to deliver?
Definitely you won't.
So that means he is your helper. And that's the position of a woman. To help you, not as your subject, but as a fellow in what God has laid to you to be delivered.
Now, Judy.
Now the Bible says, Genesis 1:26, God creates both male and male and female in his own image and gives both joint dominion. This is the Bible. The same Bible says husbands are instructed to honor their wives as fellow heirs of the grace, emphasizing equal status in receiving salvation.
Yes.
So it's about understanding each one's roles.
As I wind up.
Before you ask us, before you ask us, I want us to place it in a context of participation in politics, financial access, financial independence, and also about economic opportunities.
Let me ask you, Joanne, you're holding a phone. Can a Quran be equal to the original? A woman who has gotten from a rib of a man. Remember, so this was the master.
We are not. Are you saying, Robert?
Look at this.
Robert, are you saying we are not supposed to access the same health facilities like you do?
If it's a rib, can you survive without a rib? You can't. You need the help.
I'm told a man with the.
You need the help.
Many ribs.
You are lifeless without a rib.
A photocopy and an original can never
be equated. If Jesus needed the help of women for his ministry, how much more you are man? You are nothing without a woman.
How many disciples were women?
Disciples, many. Aside from the 12, how many?
12, why don't we see?
Who cooked for the disciples? Who gave them shelter? Who helped them feed? Who was at the core? It's a woman.
So
you can do nothing without a woman.
So because men are not equal to women, we should experience domestic violence.
Anyways, let's bring this to a close.
Up
next is GMU Tourism Express. And business will be coming up as well. The agenda will be coming up as well. This conversation definitely cannot end. We'll need another time, but stay tuned. Good Morning Uganda does continue.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. explore Uganda.
Yes, you are most welcome to Sempaya Hot Springs once again. And as I told you that Sempaya Hot Springs are gender sensitive, we started our views and walks from the male hot spring. Now we're ending up here. This is the magnificent female hot springs. You can see, most beautiful, none of this kind in this country other than Semuliki National Park. So when you hear, I told you that the male's hot spring, the other side is extremely very hot. But again, when you come to the female, it's also not that cold, it's very hot. The temperatures ever recorded here, the highest has been 103 degrees Celsius. Very high temperatures. When it is hot, even your phone might reject taking a photograph. It's very important that we know that the hot spring environment is very fragile, so you are always advised to keep along the boardwalks and as guided by your guide, because the water, once you slip off, you are likely to get burnt. So observe the rules and regulations and make sure that safety first. As I told you, the other side, when the Bamaga were moving around trying to look for Bitente, who is the person traditionally who disappeared from the site of the male, and this side, the wife of Bitente, called Nansimbi, went looking for his husband, and the husband disappeared. And when people searched for her, for Bitente, and then the wife also searched for the husband, equally the two people disappeared. The female ended up disappearing from these places. They looked around, and fortunately one lucky person landed on the remains of the female. That one who is called Nyansimbi. Nyansimbi means associated with money. So what happens in tradition, in the culture of the Bamaga people? The Bamaga people believe that the ancestors stay here. The Sempaya Hot Springs is the headquarters of the ancestors of Bamaga. So annually, when these guys get problems, when they have low yields, when they have a lot of ailments, unexplained challenges, there's a very low productivity, they say the ancestors are very disappointed. What they do, they come here and prepare for appeasement. They organize goats, chicken, all kinds of food. But they are very careful. The females will only come on the female side. The males will go to the male side and slaughter the he-goats, the cocks on the other side of the male. But on the side of the female, they will bring only the she-goats and then the chicken, and make sure that they don't mix up the gender. As you can see, this place is spacious. It gives an opportunity for visitors, however many they are, to congregate, to be able to enjoy, to prepare food as much as they can and interact. That's what the mother does in the home, is always preparing for the family. So the female springs here also does the same. You are able to prepare your food, interact, even be able to touch the water, which you cannot do at the male hot spring. So the Bamaga do carry out an annual event of appeasing to their ancestors by making sacrifices. And after making sacrifices, the barred women will be able to produce very well, the yields will increase, all the family problems traditionally will disappear. So as Uganda Welfare Authority, we believe in people's culture, we promote cultural tourism, and we have supported the Bamaga to always go through their rituals. And please, I request the Ugandans that this is the only site in this country where you can do all these things and visit. Besides that, this water is very, very curative. It is a healing center naturally, where you can be able to come even if you have malaria. Please, we don't tell you that we only come here to treat malaria. First go for treatment, but then to remove the remains of the drugs you come here, because you are going to sweat and your body will be so nice. Very free massage. And you will also prepare free natural food from here. You boil eggs, there's salt in it. You boil ruombo, we have Sempaya ruombo, where you only organize your food, immerse it in the hot water. It's ready for you. Meat, chicken, 1 hour. By the time you come back from your activities, everything is wow, well cooked, nice aroma. Please come and enjoy this as Ugandans. You're most welcome to the Female Springs.
As we come to the end of our journey through Semuliki National Park, and particularly Sempaya Hot Springs, we are left in awe of the natural wonders that are here. The place is so much endowed in beautiful landscapes, the hot springs, the nature, the green lush, like everything is super amazing. And it is one place that is calling you. It is becoming several tourists from different parts of the world. However, it is interesting to know that the numbers of tourists coming into this country, say in a year, if you get like 30,000 tourists to the park, we have at least 90% of these tourists being the East African residents. So that is amazing that we, the East Africans and Ugandans, we are embracing the gift that we have in the country. So if you're this one Ugandan who has not yet embraced exploring Uganda, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it is this perfect time when tourism is so much booming and also growing at a very fast rate that you need to embrace such activities and travel around Uganda, explore the beautiful parts that we have, and come to Sempaya Hot Springs. I am Irene Allen Amisang. This is the GMTV Express. Catch you tomorrow.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
And for those of you who are just joining us, you're watching UBC coming to you live from Nile Avenue, where the UBC headquarters are located. It's still actually morning out here within the Kampala metropolitan area, and those of you hoping to come to town, come equipped, because the drizzles are still powering. Welcome back from Tourism Express, and now it is time for the economic reporting, and we are starting off with the members of the National Strategic Communications Committee that met with the ICT and National Guidance Minister, Dr. Chris Bariomunsi, in a high-level engagement engagement aimed at strengthening coordination across government communication systems to better protect Uganda's national image while amplifying key national development initiatives. Now, the meeting focused on aligning strategic messaging, streamlining information flows across ministries and agencies, and building a unified narrative with the media that supports public trust, counters misinformation, and promotes priority development programs, reinforcing the role of coordinated national communications in driving Uganda's socio-economic transformation. Let's have a look at this meeting.
We, some few years back, put in place a committee that works with us as the Ministry of Information to augment and supplement the work that we do, especially on strategic communication, with a focus on ensuring that we communicate effectively both locally but also portray a positive image internationally, because as we build our economy, we are attracting investors to come into this country, we are attracting tourists to come into this country, and also working hard to ensure that the international community knows Uganda has recovered and it's on the positive trajectory as we move ahead. There is a lot of excitement with social media in Uganda, and social media has created what we call citizen journalism. Now everybody is a journalist. With a phone and a computer, you can publish anything, anytime, and there are sections of Ugandans who abuse social media, and we have severally said Ugandans, especially young people, should use social media for positive communication, for development, not just to spew hatred and put all sorts of communication which is very offensive.
It is utter lack of knowledge to spew bad things about the very community that gives you the income. Now, you can educate, but where education stops, you apply regulations. Because the media, I started this conference by saying social media is highly individualized and it's not going to get any better. Everybody has a voice. It's like a cacophony, it's like a forest. Now, sometimes you want to understand what are they saying. And some of us switch off and want to go above them by going the traditional way to convince people so that when they go on social media, they don't trust what they see. Social media will say what they want, but we ask you to stay with the narrative. We can have a principle, but if you mess it up, we should go back to the principle and deal with you if we have finished education. We understand practice and principle but we ask you to stay with the principle. Stay close to the principle where social media has gone off the hinge.
Of course, it involves lack of ethical training in order to disseminate news, so try to desist from it. But moving on with the National Strategic Planning, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development launched its financial year 2025-2026 to 2029-2030 service delivery standards and client charter. The charter outlines the values and principles that will guide staff in fulfilling the ministry's mandate. Let's take a look.
And agencies. Uganda's growth and development agenda remains aligned to the attainment of the tenfold growth strategy.
We are, as a ministry, mandated, and our main role is to ensure that we create a macroeconomic environment in which business and the overall economy can flourish. So we want to ensure that we continue with that role in a perfect way. We have been doing it well. As you can see, the country does not have inflation, the shilling is stable, the overall macroeconomy is stable. The economy is growing. That's the first key role.
The 5-year strategic plan, service delivery standards, and the 5-year client charter is intended to strengthen the ministry's ability to effectively execute its mandate. The documents constitute a co-management framework for the Finance Ministry and will support the implementation of the 4th National Development Plan and the 10-fold growth strategy.
Fiscal credibility is not just a technical goal. It is the bedrock of investor confidence, microeconomic stability, and public trust. Equally vital is the coordination of financing.
At the launch, the Deputy Head of Public Service and Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Theopista Wanene, emphasized the importance of accountability and collaboration among ministries, departments and agencies.
There is need for the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to continuously engage the ministries, departments, agencies and local governments that are mandated to deliver public services. The ministry should establish a regular forum to discuss and address cross-cutting issues that affect the implementation of plans and budgets.
The ministry committed to implement the client charter to enhance service delivery.
The ministry stands as the anchor institution for economic governance. We are committed to transparency, accountability, and results-driven management guided by the highest standards of professionalism and integrity.
Feedback from clients will be used to continuously improve systems and service delivery mechanisms. Dennis Igoa and Happy Ejuka for UBC.
Do not forget that you can hold the Ministry of Finance accountable in order to achieve efficiency, because they set the measurable benchmarks so as to achieve timeliness and quality. But moving on to the teledentistry, the Inox and Teledentist Global Initiative, delivered through the Bridge to Health program, has successfully supported over 600 residents on Kalangala Island through a comprehensive oral health outreach. Let's take a look at this report.
Preventive. More than 20 international dental professionals traveled to the island to provide emergency extractions, professional cleaning, oral screenings, gum disease management, and structured hygiene education. During the mission, over 600 units of Cavigard were administered as a preventive oral health treatment, strengthening enamel protection and helping reduce cavity progression.
So our opportunity to come to Uganda was with Bridge to Health, this wonderful organization we're working with, and we brought Cavigard with us, and our favorite experience of the other dentists that came with me, and I say, is the Ugandan dentists. They have been so embracing what this offers and offering the technology so that they could reach out to islands sitting from home, and training. Our goal is to train local community health workers to be able to apply the product when a teledentist tells them where to apply.
In remote communities, limited access to routine dental care often means minor issues develop into severe infections. This initiative addressed both urgent clinical needs and long-term prevention.
Oral disease is the most prevalent disease in the world, and it's almost 100% preventable because it's a bacterial disease. And we now have technology that we can do virtual consultations almost anywhere there's internet connection, and we have products like Cavigard that prevent a tooth from cavities from getting worse, actually stops the decay rate, and then fluoride varnish over it prevents further cavities.
The program aligns with the goals of the World Health Organization to integrate oral health into universal health coverage by 2030. With global dental workforce shortages, the teledentist model extends specialist expertise virtually, enabling remote consultations and continued care beyond physical outreach missions.
This is just an opportunity to consult with a dentist this is killing me, this really hurts, what can I do?
Yeah.
And the dentist will be able to recommend antibiotics and intermediary treatment of what they can do while they're waiting to be able to get in. We can decrease pain getting worse, and give them options. You know.
According to research, oral diseases rank amongst the most prevalent in the world. This initiative represents a step forward in combining international collaboration, preventive innovation, and digital health solutions to strengthen Uganda's oral health care access. Wadulo Arnold Mark for UBC News.
How the Ugandan shilling is working against other currencies as of 18th February by Bank of Uganda. Let's take a look at the different forex rates in our forex updates. And starting off with the US dollar that bought at 3,528.45 and sold at 3,538.45. By midday, the dollar bought at 3,529.77 and sold at 3,539.77. By close of business, the dollar buying rate was at 3,559.36 and sold at 3,569.36. And the Great British Pound bought at 4,822.22 and sold at 4,837.55, whereas the euro there bought at 4,208.23 and sold at 4,220.76. From the neighbors, starting off with the Kenyan shilling, they are bought at 27.57 and sold at 27.69. The Tanzanian shilling bought at 1.36 and sold at 1.39. And finally, the South African rand bought at 221.11 and sold at 222.07. You can check out the forex if you're transacting in any of those currencies. But do not forget that Bank of Uganda released the macroeconomic indicators, so endeavor to look out for them. For those of you who are in business, coming up is the agenda. My name is Joanne N. Moronji. Do not forget, we are powered by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years. Out of the blue,
the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? if you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
The Senior Citizens Grant under the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment SAGE program is Uganda's social protection flagship program, providing regular, predictable, and reliable direct income support to older persons. Since inception in 2010, the SAGE program has positively impacted beneficiaries' livelihoods, contributing to the overall national socio-economic transformation. The government of Uganda has continued to fulfill its commitment to the expansion and sustainability of the SAGE program, ensuring income security, dignity, and improved basic standard of living for older persons in all local governments across the country.
I am Kolodong Martin. I am 70 years old. I come from Naitakwai Parish, Nadunget Sub-County. This village is called Katanga. I knew about this SAGE money I don't remember very well the year, I think around 2013-14 is when I heard about this SAGE program. We were gathered at Katanga village as the elders. They say they need elders from 60 years. So we were gathered, then I was part of the team who was identifying, because by then there were no IDs by then. So we were gathered together with the old women, said verification of years. When were you born? Then some of us were just, putting these events. I was born during the time of this, during the time of this, during the time of this, because for us, Karamojong, we identify the years through events. So that's how we need, and we said, okay, so-and-so is fit to be in this SAGE program, 60, because they said 60 above. So that's how I got it. The benefits actually, when it first came, because we were receiving, they told us we were receiving the first bunch of money, we received 25. This 25, we really were grateful, because for us to get the money, this 25 by then was very, it was good money. So I could buy a kilo of sugar. I could get at least even call my friends to share. I think today we have got something, call some kwete. So, and then we can also get some meat by that time. We thank the government for that initiative.
This is a message from Expanding Social Protection, ESP, implementing the program under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. ESP, better life chances for all.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome back from the business desk. It's time for the agenda. You are watching UBC TV, always here to inspire you. We come to you live from the Nile Avenue. My name is Julie F. Nataba, and it's time for the agenda where we are talking about everything police, from the reshuffle, getting the right language in there, and of course the increased crime rate in Kampala's reality. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and we're having this conversation with Kituma Rusoke, the police spokesperson, over a phone conversation. Now, police did announce a major breakthrough in investigations related to the recent wave of murders and opportunistic crimes committed, and that beams a ray of hope on there. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, made changes within the Uganda Police Force amid public outcry over increased crime rate. And of course, the statistics we did get were 4 submachine guns recovered between January 20th to 24th January 2026. And of course, these linked to 30 aggravated robberies in Kampala Metropolitan committed between June 2025 and January 2026. And since then, no gun-related incidents have been reported, and 9 suspects have also been apprehended, linked to 12 murders. These, of course, include the 3 major cases of conversation and focus within the city over the past few months. 136 arrests made within the CBD, charged with possession of narcotic substances and other related crimes. To speak with us over the phone is Kituma Rusoke. Good morning, Afande.
Good morning, my sister. And good morning, Ndogo Chirabo.
Good morning.
I'm delighted to be with you on UBC.
Indeed, a pleasure having you this morning. And let's
and my best regards to the people out there watching or listening to us.
Definitely so. Thank you for that. Let's start with the reshuffle, the recent reshuffle. Give us the right language so that at the end of the day we all have the facts and relate with the story in a factual position. Was it a reshuffle? Was it a transfer? Was it a firing?
When you read a police message, you will always find the word transfer or appointment. So what exactly happened was a transfer. It is a routine activity. It is a practice. The Inspector General of Police, in his appreciation, will always move his troops and personnel for purposes of efficiency or height, whatever the interest he appreciates, he moves his troops. Now, in respect to the commander, Kampala Metropolitan, I saw some media outlets using very inappropriate or overstatements, inappropriate statements. Sacked. No, the commander, Kampala Metropolitan, was not sacked. He was reassigned. He was transferred. And as I speak, he was transferred to police headquarters and given new assignments.
All right. In the same spirit with what's been going on, what does his transfer mean?
Certainly, of course, the Inspector General of Police, in identification of gaps here and there, may choose, and that's what he did. He may choose an alternative officer, probably to bring in new energy, to refreshen the team, just like the way teams are always, even on a football pitch, you always have substitution. So, but it does not mean that you discard the previous footballer. No. So currently, they have brought in the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Emitu Ezekiel. Emitu is not new in the Kampala Metropolitan. He has been there before as a deputy commander, and he's back. And we guess things will even look better.
Now, please take us through what police has been able to achieve in investigations regarding the 3 murders that happened in within Kampala Metropolitan. One, the Dean of Studies at Uganda Christian University. We had the socialite, I think that was in Chanja. Then also the Lunguja. People want to know, what is police doing?
Yeah, we have been coming out clear on those matters. Although, Nduguchirabo, you know that we are tied by the sub judice rule. Sometimes we may not be very comfortable to share with you in detail.
Yes.
Exactly how we did what. Although, of course, some few media outlets, I don't know how, they end up having a bit of information. But for us professionals, we feel it is so sensitive. But what we would like to tell the people is, one, is that those murders, the 3, the 2 people who were murdered in Lunguja in a hotel, we made breakthroughs. At least we arrested a person, actually some persons, and with very good clues, because they were intercepted with some vital exhibits. And since then, we've had an interrogation, and they are giving us good information that can be used well to have a case against them, and equally to establish the motive. When you go to the incident of the murder of the socialite who was murdered in Chanja in an apartment, again we made an arrest. The arrested person was found with vital exhibits, at least which placed him at a crime scene. Now that was also another breakthrough. Then you go to the murder of a don of Uganda Christian University, Mukono. Again, we made that breakthrough. Our intelligence and operational units, assisted by other security agencies, have really been on these cases. And Chirabo, these are not the only ones. Actually, we have been making breakthroughs. When you look at the police record, every day we are taking murderers, rapists, name it, to court. And our annual crime report, when it comes, I think it will give a good testament to what I am saying. Equally, maybe let me get off the murders. Let me also talk about general crime. We have made very significant infractions into fighting general crime. Currently, we have, because of public outcry, we have intensified disruptive operations. There are a number of young men who are highly engaged in the consumption of illicit drugs. Now, they are out there in our neighborhoods, and they have become a problem to everybody. And what they do, they essentially commit opportunistic offenses. That's the word I've been using around. Opportunistic in the sense that it takes advantage of a vulnerability. Either you are working at an awkward hour, you are isolated, or probably there is no proper lighting in a given place. And of course, you know, you can't restrict people's movements. People move, there are people who stop, who do shifts at midnight. There are people moving for all sorts of reasons and at different hours. Sorry. So these people take advantage. They mug them. There are those who take advantage of people coming from banks carrying bulk amounts. You recall those groups. We fought them some time back. These who use multiple motorcycles. So we've been doing a number of operations. Yesterday I briefed the media that just between 3rd February and yesterday, we had swept over 440. We take them to court, yes, but the other challenge we have is they return, because some of them who get convicted do not necessarily spend very long terms in prison. So when they return, they become a new problem in the neighborhoods. I will give you an example. There was a vehicle which was shown on social media spaces. It is a super custom. The number plate was plucked off and a telephone number was written at its back to request. Look, it's not usually a request. It was a demand for money with menaces. Now, we picked it on, arrested the suspect. Now, when we arrested the suspect, only to establish after doing a background check on him, he had been in prison just as good as December 2025, which is just around less than 2 months ago. Now you can see that somebody has been under punishment 2 months ago. He comes, he begins from where he stopped. So, and that one is a reflection of the bigger problem that we are fighting crime, but the society needs to be alive to the fact that there is a lot of, I think in prison terms they call it, is it recidivism, where the tendency of an inmate returning after he has served his sentence is high. Now,
Afande, just at that, when we look at Uganda prisons and we look at prisons globally, it is Uganda is doing well as far as the rate of reoffending. That is where a person who was sent to prison, convicted, served a sentence and commits crime again. But the challenge is that many of these people you arrest don't get convicted. They get on remand, then you know how court does its things, then they return to their communities. That is why sometimes you're able to do away with some type of crime, say panga wielding men, then after a period of time, there is a rebirth of that crime and you end up arresting the very people that were in that. Prison will tell you that these people are not convicted because either we don't have people to follow them or there's something missing out there. As people mandated with the purpose of detecting, preventing, protecting life and property, what are you doing about this? That you arrest many, now you rounded up over 200, they are going to go, of course they'll go to prison, come back again the next time, and then they'll be released after some time. What should the public do better, or what aren't you doing better?
First and foremost is that those operations are not in vain, because they have an intelligence component. We avoid as much as possible doing a random sweeping of members of public. But the only difference is I have been in all my communication appealing to members of public that we need your input, and maybe that's why I'm answering what the public should do. We need their input. One of the biggest contributions in the fight against crime is popular intelligence. The intelligence filters coming from public are very vital in the fight against crime. One, they know the wrong elements better than anybody in their neighborhoods. Two, their timely contact of police or other security agencies is very vital in fighting crime in real time. Now, one of the biggest challenges we have found with our people, and especially the elites and urban populations, they live in a very isolated fashion. You will find an average citizen in these urban areas does not have the contact of his area police. What they usually have are contacts of friends. Security. Now, when it comes to communication, you find that the turnaround time so as to address a particular offense or crime is usually very long. He calls his friend, the friend calls police, then the police is identifying where exactly you are. Now, you find that the triangulation of communication makes the fighting of crime very, very complex. Two, we always have community engagements through our CLOs. CLOs are community liaison officers. You check the number of people who attend those meetings. These people barely come. So we want to have a conversation with the community, with police. But the community must avail itself. So anyway, that aside, what else are we doing? We are enhancing deployments. I think you must be seeing some visibility in potentially crime hotspot areas. Visibility is of course very, very important, although it has a challenge. These criminals still will know you are you are patrolling in place X, they attack place Y. But visibility is important in that when a police officer is located and in place X and he's in ready action, the moment we get a trigger call or a distress call that there is a problem in a neighborhood Y, you find that the speed of response is good. So visibility is there. Then we have also, and we continuously enhance our intelligence networkings as an institution. Of course, I would like also to notify you, we are so busy with our anti-crime infrastructure, like the CCTV cameras, but of course you will have to appreciate that they don't reach everywhere. So that is where they monitor and where they don't. But I'm more optimistic. I think in the coming financial years, they may have to be expanded so that our visibility catch is wider. There are a number of things we are trying as much as possible. We have over 10,000 officers on training. They came briefly to enhance security during elections. They have returned to complete the last modules of training. Now when they return, certainly they will have a good force multiplier effect, or what you would call an increase in terms of numbers on the current numbers we have.
Afande, before you proceed, we know that the international ratios of policing, Uganda, much as we've tried, we are not yet there to at least 1 per every 500 people. But also, when you talk about the deployments, your deployments have been criticized by some analysts in security, saying, where are your priorities? Now we are talking of 10,000 in training, but you find so many Ugandans that are protected by police, and you find that one person, for example, may have about 6 protecting them. And of course, I am not an expert to show that these really have so many fears surrounding them, therefore they need this much of protection. But Ugandans sometimes don't understand how you're using the little you have in terms of priorities of deployment. It seems sometimes you prioritize more individuals than communities. I need your intake on this as well.
First and foremost, much as you see us giving protection to persons of security interest, it is not true that the number is extremely alarming. And secondly, there are persons.
Every expensive vehicle you see moving, you see a policeman.
Despite all that, those persons need the security. Those persons need security because of the nature of our society. Because it can also be extremely disturbing if you had a high caliber or security vulnerable person targeted. It is also extremely disturbing. But nonetheless, let's concentrate on the interventions I'm talking about. They will yield. Let me tell you, Ndugu Chirabo, these 10,000 we are having certainly will have a multiplier effect on policing generally.
Right, and I would stay just to speak a little in line with visibility. There has been concern over traffic deployment, for example, traffic police deployment on the roads. during seasons where there's heavy deployment in some seasons and less deployment in other seasons. For example, back to school, where you find heavy police deployment, traffic deployment on the roads, and other seasons there's less traffic deployment and a lot of crime is going on within the CBD. What would you explain to Uganda regards that?
If you talk about traffic, we have operational approaches depending on seasons and tides. Now, for instance, why you will see seemingly heavy deployment of traffic, those are just tactical approaches. Like, for example, I'll give you an example that if you are having a back to school season, what we call in traffic terms the major arteries, we can decide to concentrate troops on major arteries. Those are major outlets out of the greater Kampala metropolitan. But it's not that we have even changed the numbers. No, those are some of the tactics we have. And equally, it is very, very important to figure out your deployment based on your appreciation of need. Now, when there is the schools have reopened, there is a lot of pressure on those arteries I've mentioned. So you find that you have to reduce your concentration in the city center and then concentrate on such areas. And you find that actually we help a lot. Then when it comes to like the festive season, Christmas, when there is a lot of movement to and from rural areas, we again come in. And we find that we have helped a lot because you have very many reckless drivers, very many people drinking under the influence of alcohol. Now when they see that visibility, the visibility as a tactic is very, very important. That's what I will say.
Right. Thank you very much. And in that same spirit, let's now talk about the public who you protect day in, day out. Many of them seem to have less trust when it comes to the Uganda police force. What would you say about that?
First and foremost, that statement is not correct. You see, I have done advanced research. When you say more, you must be having a statistical inference. It is not true. You see, let people not be misguided by our brothers and sisters who are always on social media. They constitute a very small portion of the actual population of Uganda. When you want to understand the extent of cooperation between police and the people, you move to the police stations, move to the communities, look at when there is a problem on the village, who is the first person that you call?
Police.
The police.
When a transformer has a problem on a certain village and the people, it is a tense situation, is police. When I'm telling you, when you go into the deeper realities, for us, we and these genuine wananchis, we are always in touch. We like I told you, and really mark me on this, in our analysis and observations, the people who have not well embraced police public relations, the elite, and my brother and sister, you will agree with me. It is not only that they don't relate with the police alone. They don't relate with their fellow community members. They have boundary walls all over the place. They sit in their cars, drive off, come back, no communication, no interaction. Call for an LOC village meeting and you see how many elites will attend it. You get the point? It is a wider social problem which we need to sit and have a conversation over. Now it spills over to other sectors of social life, including policing.
Now, Afande, also, if I may ask, what have you done to improve timely response? Because there are certain things that sometimes I wonder, but of course now that we have you online, there are some areas, for example, the golf course, around golf course, there is a police booth. During the day, you'll find that there are a number of police officers. At night, you'll find literally none. Come to here, Ginger Road, there's a police booth. One time there was an incident around Mukwano, that kind of dark spot. And I was very sure I could help alert police that was near to that police booth, only to find nobody. You go to Katwe police, that roundabout. In the evening, sometimes you may find about 6 motorcycles, 30 police officers. Around 1 or 2, you literally find it's hard to find any. Yet we believe maybe you should be working 24/7 and these deployments being there. Now in quick response, also sometimes when people rush to some police posts, leave alone police stations, but posts, you literally find a police officer that can approach and rescue in time. What are you doing to improve these situations?
Of course, you know, we used to have police officers in that area. But we scaled down because of vulnerability. Okay. You know, initially we used to have a deployment approach, which we reviewed and found it was not very, very necessary. For example, you find that a booth has 2 policemen and 1 gun. Of course, those were partly because of numbers. Now, instead, what you are endangering the public by exposing 1 gun and 2 policemen to, and vulnerability. I guess you understand.
Yes.
So what we decided was we retreated those officers into a bundle of a reasonable number. So we dismantled some of those areas. That is a temporary measure. Of course, certainly when the numbers increase, we shall re-emphasize our effort in those areas, but with the right numbers. Secondly, of course, a booth. You know, a booth is a temporary police deployment. But Ndugu Chirabo, you see what you are telling me is precisely what we want to hear from the people. Once they give us that information, we are willing to act. You know, we want to act on the advice of public and how they perceive their security in their communities. That's the conversation we want to always promote.
Right. We are having a conversation with SCP Kituma Rusoke, the spokesperson of the Uganda Police, and we're looking at we looked at the police reshuffle, but also the increased crime rate, especially in Kampala. Be part of the conversation. 0709-602-592. Ask your question, share your opinion. He is here to speak with us and answer a few of those lurking and luring questions that we have. Now, Afande, a couple of questions come through, and they are majorly linked to crimes in different areas and how people can get help. For example, there is one that comes in from Lira City, and James Okulo says that Lira City is also overwhelmed with the upsurge of crime. Isn't it a high time for intervention, as has been done for Kampala? Could just please speak into that, and in the same spirit, perhaps share contacts that are easy for the public to reach in case of anything in that instant moment.
First and foremost, let me appreciate his sharing of concern. Lira is one of the emerging cities of Uganda. And some of the issues we are actually discussing about Kampala, the greater Kampala metropolitan, can be seen also from Lira. Now, what I advise, that the very things we have discussed, community engagement, ensuring that you are always in touch with the police, show them your crime concerns, have their contacts. Of course, Lira being a city, it is among those areas which is earmarked for enhanced deployment. One of the things for me I love as an approach is when I get such feedback, I'm always very comfortable to take feedback now to the commanders. Like for instance, in Togochirabo, I am going to jot down a summary of the issues raised here, because of course I will be remembering. Then I throw them on the chats of our commanders. I tell them I engage the public, public is saying this. I engage this, public is saying this. So usually I do that. But otherwise we appreciate his concern, but let him appreciate also that Lira is an emerging city. So the very discussion we have held about the greater Kampala metropolitan applies squarely also on Lira and other emerging cities of Uganda.
Right, and it's interesting that another comes through reporting and showing a video, sharing a video of someone stealing a number plate off of a car from a garage, and the thief even left their phone number for the owner of the car to call back in case they needed to get their number plate. Another concern comes through from Tororo. Why do police take long to respond, like an hour leaving criminals to disappear? This is Owora John from Tororo.
Let me answer Owora that response time of recent is one of the things we are trying to address. So you must have realized the government of Uganda gave us some good support of vehicles, of motorcycles. I think we've had more than 2,000 or around 1,000 something motorcycles. I don't have the figures offhand. Reinforced in our various areas of operation. Secondly, is the communication. There was a time when we had very few phones, but currently every police station in Uganda, which qualifies to be at station level, has a phone contact. But I'm going to share, may I share these numbers?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Let me read some few numbers here. We have a toll-free line. If you call this line, you will be received by the operation room in Kampala, which operation room will now give instructions up to the grassroots where you want your problem to be solved. We have 0800 199 699, and there is an MTN of 0776 999 163. We also have an Airtel, which is 0707 600 773. Now those are very crucial numbers which if you called, you would be assisted in a quick coordination to ensure that security is reinstated.
Right, and staying with the numbers, in case there's traffic on these numbers, I mean, covering the whole of Uganda, is there a possibility that there are numbers at the different localities, police stations in the local settings, sub-county or something of that sort?
Yes, they are there. Now, usually, my sister, what I always encourage is a citizen can walk to the station and interact with them, pick the number. You get the point?
Yes, please.
He can, because they are there.
All right.
Well, like me as the national spokesperson, I can only share these at operational level, or at strategic level. I usually share those of fire and rescue. I share traffic, but those that will be received at the center. But when they walk to their localities, police stations, there are numbers there. And let's encourage them to go there. So that they even see their police representation.
Now, Afande, you've rightly invited Ugandans to walk to police stations, get these numbers, but let's also look at the environment at police stations. You'll find that many Ugandans, even if they have not committed a crime, they fear approaching police stations. Even if you just told someone that I'm going to at a police station, I have a friend there who will tell you, me to go to a police station. So please take us through, if someone is to go to a police station, how do you arrive there? You know, I'll give, for example, one that I'm very familiar with, that is Katwe police station. There's a bulkhead at the entrance, then the person will go inside, you'll find a counter book. Let's make this easy for Ugandans. Not a Ugandan who has never entered a police station and who says, I'll only go there either when I have a close friend arrested or relative, or when bad luck has closed my way and I've been arrested and detained there. Yes, sir.
That person who says he fears going there should have first asked himself, what has happened to those who go there? Because people go there. You get the point? But let's take them through.
Yes.
When you come to a police station, of course you will find a deployment because it has to be secured. Now, but when you enter, should you be asked where you are going? You mention, because an average police station has several departments. For you, you may be going to traffic, whereas for me, I'm going to child and family. So, but when you reach at the counter, we always have our reception. People will always receive you, depending on the size of the station. At times it may be a police post or a police station, but of minimal sizing. But don't mind, engage the officers. Confidently tell them your interest. At times, there is when you want to share your concern, probably with a bit of a superior officer, let's say the OC station or a DPC. Similarly, you reserve the right to say, I have come to the station, but I am seeking an appointment with the area DPC. If he's in, they will inform him and say, somebody by the names of Chituma Rusoke is here, he wants to talk to you. If you have come particularly to report a case, the counter shall receive you. And usually, of course, they will ask you, then they will interpret what your story, and then that's when they extract, usually either they will extract your statement, but most likely they will enter your complaint. Now when they enter that complaint, usually it is processed and a file is made, and then they take it to it is dispatched. There is a dispatch method we have within a station. They will probably tell you, sit somewhere here as you wait, and we process your file. You get it? Then the long story now begins. You find they have told you, yes, now you come and give us also your statement. Do you have some witnesses? Yes, go back and get some. Like that, and like that, depending on the nature of the case. A police station is a free access area. Now, not only a police station, a public place delivering a government service. It could be a hospital. It could be an office, police headquarters. Ndugu Chirabo, do I chase away visitors who come to see me?
You're very welcoming, just that you don't give tea.
Very interesting.
Now that is, I've got feedback.
Oh, wow,
and people
interesting.
come, they come to police headquarters there. We are always notified. Ndugu Rusoke, you have visitor X, Y, and Z. Now, like now, I'm on phone. They are, if somebody phone me on the phone, they will hold him somewhere until when I'm done. And I see that person. A public office is a place which does not have those restrictions people fear of.
Right. Now, in the interest of time, Afande, we understand that your schedule is busy and the show too has to end. But perhaps as you look forward to giving us your closing remarks, perhaps also share the challenges that police faces in carrying out its duty. As it takes two to tango.
The challenges police faces, of course, some are structural. Structure in the sense that, for example, the numbers. Ndugu Chirabo elaborated it even better than me. We have not yet reached the optimal threshold. We averagely would need to have one police officer serving 500 people. It would make a lot of difference if we had that number. Because when you don't have the right numbers, it affects the following areas. One, it affects your visibility. Two, it affects the speed at which you deliver your service. Let's give an example of CID. If you need one CID officer for 10 files, and you find that you have one CID officer for 60 files, you will certainly have those complaints from public. File yange yabula, my file is not moving. You get the point. Then we also we have anti-crime infrastructure like CCTV, but which we would wish it spreads more than currently it is, because it's a very, very important tool in the fight against crime. The other challenges we have, I told you, are societal structural challenges. The urban setup. Every time you see a slum, you know there is a problem, because slums come with a specific antisocial behavior. Slums come with challenges in policing. There is a lot of drug abuse. You get the point. Now, one of the challenges I want to speak separately is the challenge of drug abuse in the country. It is something which all of us, parents, need to put their hands together. Some of our children, after consuming these things, are becoming a problem. And
now,
of course, there are many.
Just on
we
that,
still need more.
Just on drug abuse, this brings me to ask, your enforcers of the law, now there is one common, would I call it a drug, that is katmira or mairungi. Government of Uganda, we know, banned this sale and consumption. But when you move around, it is as if it was legalized. When you go to Chisenyi, when you go to areas of Naguru, even those slums around Naguru police headquarters, when you go almost everywhere, it is almost even displayed on streets, openly for anyone to consume. What is hindering effective enforcement of these drugs, even before you go to opium, which is concealed, ice, which is maybe very hard to see, but this is very visible everywhere?
First and foremost, I beg to differ from you in respect to cat. Mairungi, if I have to recollect well, I think it is not among the classified drugs against. That's why you are seeing it on the street.
So it is okay.
Mairungi is not among those classified exactly. We have also had that conversation before about it. I was a DPC old Kampala. They were selling it near there. I could not do anything because the law would not allow me to do so. But one day we shall have a very long conversation about drug abuse.
Indeed.
All countries all over the globe are having it as a challenge. Why? Partly because the networking required to fight it is beyond simply the ordinary police structures you see. You need so many people. That child who is consuming it from quietly at home, those children who are consuming it probably in a field below in their school. You get the point?
Right, yes.
You will find that you need other stakeholders to help you in the fight against it.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this morning, SCP Kituma Rusoke, the spokesperson of the Uganda Police. And comments coming through. Good morning, UBC Uganda. Thank you for serving the nation. This is Pastor Alex, who thanks you, Afande, from Kasana Mitiana Road. Thank you very much for joining us. And perhaps if I could just for a second step into your shoes. We've been asked to reread the numbers that you shared, which I took the time to jot. The numbers, the toll-free one is 0800 199699, and the others are 0776 999 163. The other Airtel is 0707 677.3. These, if I remember what Afande has told us this morning, is the fact that they are received by the operation room in Kampala, who trace down to the grassroots where you are to help the situation. I hope, Afande, I've represented you very well for that second.
Very much, and I'm delighted.
All right, thank you for your time this morning. Have a lovely day.
Greetings to you all.
Indeed. Thank you so much for being on the show. This brings us to the end of today's conversation. I hope you've learned a thing or two and taken in something that would help you. My highlight has been community engagement, especially for the elite class who tend to wall themselves off of everything. It's about the time the elite got involved at grassroots level on everything. Good morning, Uganda. Let's do this again tomorrow. Be blessed.
Exercise can't be sustained